you're just joining us, good morning. Brian, good morning. Thomas, good morning. We are going to officially get started in about 5 minutes. If this is your first time checking us out, welcome. We like to go live a few minutes before we officially start, just to give everyone a chance to jump on and get comfy, get settled in. So, again, we're going to start it'll be about 4 minutes. If you're jumping on the stream with us early, again, thanks for hanging out with us. Drop us a comment, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. You can check us out on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page as well. We're at goingbroadwaypodcast.com/YouTube. Check us out. Let us know what you thought of WrestleMania. That's what we're going to cover today. Depending on time, that may take up the whole show.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, we're going to get started shortly. Give it about 3 minutes or so. Hey, Roy, how you doing, man? Good morning. Let us know what you thought about WrestleMania. That's what we're going to cover today. Again, if this is your first time checking us out, again, thanks for tuning in. We usually like to go live a few minutes before we officially start the podcast. We're pretty good about reading comments as we go along, so let us know what you thought about WrestleMania, and we'll try to read it while we're on. We're also going to be doing our T-shirt giveaway at the end of the show. So if you were one of our first 1,500 likes, you are entered to win a free T-shirt. So we're going to do those drawings at the end of the show. So hang out with us, stick around, and we will officially start in about 2 minutes. We got a few more people jumping on. Hey, Mark, good morning, buddy. Again, we're going to get started in about a minute or two. If this is your first time checking us out, thanks for tuning in. We like to go live a few minutes before we officially start the podcast. Hey, William, good morning. So that's why if you're just watching us for the first time and no one's talking, again, we'll go live a few minutes before the show officially starts. So stick around, hang out with us for hour and a half. We're going to do our free T-shirt giveaway at the end of the show. You do not have to be watching to win. So if you got other things to do, no worries. But I think a lot of us are probably quarantined at the moment. So if you got nothing better to do, hang out with us for a while. Keep us on as background noise. Again, let us know what you thought about WrestleMania. We're going to cover that today, and we're going to officially start the show in about another minute. Sound like a broken record, but I'm just going to mention this again since we got a few more people jumping on. The show will officially start in about 30 or 40 seconds. We start right at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Lewis, good morning. Sean, good morning. Hope everyone's doing well. We're going to talk WrestleMania today. Let us know what you thought about it. That's what we're going to talk about probably for the entire duration of the show, minus a few stories I wanted to bring up to start the show. But again, we're going to start the show shortly, so stick around, hang out with us for an hour and a half or so. We're going to be giving away some free T-shirts at the end of the show. And as soon as the clock strikes 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, which was right now, we are going to start. Happy post WrestleMania to everyone out there. This is the Going Broadway podcast. We're on episode number 21. I am Alex. Normally to my immediate left, but to my immediate front, I should say, is Cole. We had to do some rearranging here in the studio, so he's taken a seat in front of me, and that's the reason for the awkward camera angle. So, Cole, what's going on?
Man, I'm excited to talk about all that there is to talk about. But it just cracks me up as soon as the music he pulls that belt up, and all that ran through my mind was be jealous.
So yeah, I want to talk a little bit about our giveaways because we had an extraordinary amount of people that have liked both our Facebook pages and our Facebook and Twitter pages in the last 3 days. Between Facebook and Twitter, we've had almost 1,000 new likes and follows between the two social platforms. And guys, I'm super overwhelmed over that. You guys are awesome. We appreciate the support. And even if you're just liking and following our pages to win a t-shirt or win a belt, that's totally fine with me. I mean, I would do the same thing, but just a little bit about that. So again, we're going to give away some free t-shirts at the end of this show for our first 1,500 likes on our Facebook page. That's all it applies to. We are going to do the free belt giveaway either once our Facebook page hits 2,000 likes or our Twitter page hits 1,000 follows. It's going to be whichever of those happens first. But at that point, both are going to be included, if that makes sense. So once that cutoff hits, if you were one of the first 2,000 on Facebook or first 1,000 on Twitter, you will be entered in. If you did both, you will get 2 entries. So as far as the belt giveaway goes, I showed the big gold last week, last week on last Thursday's show that we're going to be giving away. From here on out, and I've actually started doing this already, I'll bring other belts on with me just as kind of a teaser because I'm not going to reveal any more details of the belt giveaway until we actually have it. I did tease that we might give more than one belt away. Stay tuned for that. We might give away 2, we might give away 3, but you'll have to stick around and find out. But in all seriousness, guys, thanks again for supporting us. Thanks for, for checking us out. Again, we only started this 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, just about, and just the amount of support we've gotten in such a small amount of time is awesome. So again, guys, we really appreciate it. Stick around. Again, at the end of the show, we're going to give away 5 free t-shirts if you are one of our first 1,500 likes. The t-shirts will ship for free. I'll cover the shipping on our end if it's within the United States. If you live outside of the United States, we'll have to work out something as far as an added cost, for the shipping, whether it's, if I know we have some people that live in Canada that listen to us, if you live further internationally, we'll have to work that out. So, but for now, let's talk about a few quick stories first, and then we'll get to WrestleMania. So, on night 2, and we're going to kind of get ahead of ourselves a little bit, but on night 2 of WrestleMania, as I predicted, excuse me, no, I'm just kidding. Well, I actually did predict this. I'm not trying to brag. So, Charlotte defeated Rhea to win the NXT Women's title. And there was a story that came out this morning that this title change was done to help in the Wednesday Night War with AEW. So that's according to Wrestling Observer Radio. And they said that the plan is still for Charlotte to work both Raw and NXT shows each week. So I wanted to bring that up. I think that's still very interesting. As of this morning, she was still listed as a member of the Raw roster. Cole, what do you think about that? I think we
already said this, right? We already talked about how if she wins, this is clearly to help NXT in itself, to let her kind of run the gauntlet. As far as the stacked women's division that's there in NXT, but also I think this is a clear sign that this is going to be a shorter reign, because they obviously have plans for her on Raw still.
My thought was, so I agree with the initial. I agree with what you said, because that was my initial thought, that it'd be a shorter reign. But the more I thought about it, the more I was thinking I wouldn't be surprised at all if she holds it. And this is assuming this coronavirus stuff passes in time that we can have a live SummerSlam event with a crowd. The more I wonder if they're going to save that match, even if it's a Charlotte Rhea rematch, for SummerSlam.
I mean, yeah, I don't think you're going to see as many major title changes and major matches being booked until this is all over. Like, I could see Money in the Bank being kind of a I don't want to say lame card, but just a very basic card.
Assuming they have it.
As of right now, they're still promoting it and pushing it. So, depending on what happens, I could see them holding off on people dropping titles until then, minus the one or two swerves.
Speaking of dropping titles, I had to put that North American down. It's way too.
Williams says I'm quiet.
I don't know. I can hear you just fine. I mean, you guys tell me if Cole is too quiet. Let me see if I can.
Check.
Let's try that.
That's louder in my ears.
All right. Anyway, I was saying, speaking of dropping titles, I had to put that North American down just because the width of the strap is really surprisingly wide, and it was just the backing on it's kind of excuse me, backing on it's kind of slick, and it just kept sliding. So I'm just like,
you're not cut out to be the North American champion.
Well, that's all right. So to be determined on Charlotte, I wouldn't be surprised if she has it until SummerSlam. I mean, especially if they don't have any more pay-per-view events until this stuff passes. I read an article this morning about the enigma that was the Firefly Funhouse match. And we'll get to our opinions of the show and each individual match shortly, but this was really interesting as far as who put the match together and produced it. It was only done by 3 people: Bruce Pritchard, Wyatt, and Cena. I figured that there would have been a bigger input as far as that. I guess I'll call it a match segment, however you want to term it. But it was put together by Bruce Pritchard, Bray Wyatt, and John Cena. Most of it was done by Pritchard and Wyatt, and then a lot of changes that were made as they filmed it were recommended by Cena, and a lot of the changes were made. I was curious as to how long it took them to film this. I couldn't get a clear answer on it yet, but I read that the Undertaker and AJ Styles Boneyard match took about 6 hours, if I read that correctly. If that took 6 hours, I wonder how long this took. But I mean, again, if you count the amount of time that they shot it, edited it, and had the finished product, just seemed like a lot of, I don't want to, not special effects, but you guys get what I'm saying. There's just a lot of editing involved, which, I mean, that's fine. It's a taped show. You're going to expect that. And I don't mean editing in a bad way, but just there was a lot of, you guys can help me out with the right words. It's not special effects, but just
it was a movie. It was a cinematic.
Cinematic. That's
shot,
what. Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah. Cinematic was the word I was trying to think of. And just the amount of work that it looked like it took to do that, I'm surprised that only 3 people really kind of had their input on it. William says NWO Cena was amazing. Yeah, I'll get to my opinions shortly. Mark says Rhea losing a good booking angle as it puts her in a position to travel the road to redemption. She can now prove just how good she is. Yeah, that's kind of my thought process as far as building it to a SummerSlam rematch and then having Rhea win it back. Because to me, it doesn't make sense for anyone else on the NXT women's roster to go after the belt at this point. So All right. You know what? We're just going to cap it at that. Let's talk WrestleMania. And we'll go night by night. We'll start on night 1. So, I did not watch either of the pre-shows, which included 2 different matches. So, I don't want to skip those necessarily, but we won't spend too much time on them. The thing I wanted to mention about the Cesaro-Drew Gulak match, so that was the night 1 pre-show match. Cesaro busted out his old UFO move.
Yeah.
He hasn't done that since I don't think he ever even did that in NXT. I think that was pre-NXT, pre-WWE altogether. Like, he did that a lot in the indie circuit. I just wonder why it took him so long to bring that move back.
I wonder if it was just one working with Drew, someone else who kind of gets the position that he's in.
Right.
He's like, dude, why don't you pull that out? Man, that match was good, though. For a kickoff show match. You and I kind of talked about it a little bit. I was kind of shocked that Drew took the L here, though.
And that's usually how it goes as far as pre-show matches. Like, they'll have a good, solid match on the pre-show when it should be on the main card, and you need, this Elias King Corbin match to be the pre-show or some, flip-flop them. Because not everybody tunes into the pre-show, especially whenever you've got between both nights. What was it? 8 hours of WrestleMania if you include the pre-show.
Of course, yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, like you said, it was
a good showing for both of them. Still, like, it didn't hurt Drew to take the L, but I was just kind of shocked with the push that he had been getting, especially when we get further down to see what happened later on in the night too.
Right. And by the way, guys, if you've not watched WrestleMania at this point and you still want to watch it without spoilers, you should probably turn us off.
Not probably. Turn us off. Because we're going to spoil every match.
Well, I mean, some people would rather just hear about it and get the Cliff Notes version of it instead of watching it. If you want the Cliff Notes version, stick around because that's what we're giving you. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross against the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag match. I am shocked at how long they let this match go.
Yeah, this one was slow. You could tell that they need crowds. Like, this was a match that needed a crowd to kind of keep it going.
And you could tell throughout the night that there were spots that they kept as part of the script, so to speak, that would have been the crowd pop part of the match. And that's fine. I get it. I don't necessarily expect, WWE or AEW or whatever to change how they script matches or segments, but you don't have a 15-plus minute match for competitors, men or women, that don't necessarily, I don't want to say they don't know how to work a crowdless match, but they had difficulty doing it, and I think this match should have probably been cut in half, like maybe a 7 or 8 minute match, and then called it good.
There were other matches that could have went longer, I felt like, than what they did, and
Agreed.
This was not one of the matches that I was like, yeah, that one needs to go 20-something minutes.
Yeah. So Alexa and Nikki pick up the win. They are now the women's tag team champions. At this point in the night, Cole and I are both 1 for 1. And then we move on to Elias and King Corbin. This says it was only a 9-minute match. It still felt longer than that, and I think it's just because it's King Corbin.
That's not including the promo that he came out and he was kind of like, award me the win,
Then that's probably it. I mean,
with Elias being here.
It just felt felt like it dragged out way too long.
Yeah, that match to me, like, the fact that Rob Gronkowski wasn't involved in that match at all either kind of bugged me. Because, like, the match itself, it really meant nothing.
No,
like
no.
It was a time filler, and like I said, I almost would have rather have saw Cesaro and Drew Gulak on the main card versus that match.
Agreed. Elias picks up the win. Again, it was about a 9-minute match. It was what it was, and that's kind of how I feel about a lot of the matches on both nights. It was what it was. But that's all right. I mean, again, it's a crowdless WrestleMania. I mean, you can't I kind of set my bar not too high, but not too low. I kind of just was watching it as impartial as possible, given the circumstances. So then we move on to Becky Lynch against Shayna Baszler for the Raw Women's title. I don't understand this at all. Unless on Raw tonight, Shayna Baszler gets a rematch and wins the title, I don't get it. You take Shayna Baszler, you bring her into this Hell in a Cell match to be this dominant Brock Lesnar-ish persona, literally eliminate all 5 other women in that match, and then she comes in to this match and loses to Becky in an 8.5-minute match. And I've seen the move before where they've got the sleeper chokehold move and then they do the back roll into the pin. I feel like whenever WWE or just any organization, whenever they pull that move out, it's like they act like it's the first time that they've ever seen that move done. I've seen that move done since the 80s. I mean, it was brought to more prominence at WrestleMania 8 whenever Bret Hart got the win over Roddy Piper in that fashion. But I don't know. I don't get it.
So we talked about this on the Thursday show. They had to throw swerves, and I think this is one of the major. You said it last night when we were texting about this. This was probably the one match that nobody had picked Becky to win, and not because we don't think Becky's good or whatever, but we all know that her run was coming to an end. If you were to read any rumor sheet or whatever, Vince McMahon's just kind of done with her run as champion and is kind of ready to, change it up, do whatever. So I think everybody, just like we were at Royal Rumble, I think this is where they've built Shayna so well almost, is that everybody had Shayna Baszler to win the Royal Rumble, and then they swerved us and gave us Charlotte. And so now looking at WrestleMania, it was like a shoo-in. Like there was nobody talking about Becky winning that match. It was all, of course, they're going to have Shayna win this match.
Well, and I think part of the issue was there's a rumor that, and we've talked about this on prior shows, that her and Seth Rollins are supposed to be taking a hiatus, however long that might be. But again, between the hiatus rumor and the fact that, like you mentioned, it's been put on the wrestling dirt sheets, so to speak, that McMahon has given up on, not given up, but has realized that her run is coming to an end. It's gone stale. Like the man gimmick has long since ran its course. It doesn't make sense to me for her to still have the title. And Lewis says, I think that is a chance tonight with Baszler. The Raw after WrestleMania is always big, so this could be the draw. I don't know. I hope so. I mean, they've got to do something to. I still don't see Becky holding on to the title.
And I said it to you last night, though. With Money in the Bank coming up right around the corner, whether it happens or not, whether there's a crowd or not, all those things are to be determined. But I think they truly want Becky to lose it to Ronda Rousey. And if the rumor mill is true, she is coming. I don't know when. I don't know if that's a SummerSlam match. I don't know when that happens. But to me, her winning last night and winning in a way that wasn't like she dominated Shayna or she even really got a clean pin. She really got like a roll-up pin in a sense. It was a shock pin, and it didn't really prove that she was better than Shayna. So yes, one of the two could happen for me. I could see Shayna winning it tonight on Raw and letting that be a major kind of like swing to start, this new kind of year of wrestling, because this is kind of like the new beginning for WWE is right after WrestleMania. Or I could see Ronda Rousey showing up tonight to confront Becky. And we talked about how there's usually one or two major returns or call-ups or something on the Raw and SmackDown after all this takes place. So I think you might see that happen, or see somebody else return, like a Nia Jax, Ember Moon, somebody who is going to get in Becky's face.
Let's not bring up Nia Jax. Whenever she comes back, it's just going to be botchery city. I mean, I don't know. And I read a good point on. I read it last night. I forgot what group it was in. So if you watch NXT UK, there is a competitor named Piper Niven who is basically like she's a heavier set women's wrestler, but she can talk so much better. She is a so much better in-ring worker that if you're going to have again, for lack of a better way of putting it, a more heavy set woman in your women's division, it doesn't make any sense whenever you're having someone like Nia Jax, and I'm sorry I'm getting off topic. Doesn't make sense that you're having someone like Nia Jax who is just average at best, and that's being generous, in the ring, and I wouldn't even say average. I'd say below average at best on a microphone. It's like you're having WWE is so out of whack right now when it comes to who's being pushed, who is more prominent. And I don't give a crap who's on Total Divas or Total Bellas or whatever it's called now. Like, if you want to appeal to your wrestling fans, not sports entertainment, wrestling fans, and I get the sports entertainment aspect of it, but I think that people, and this might be an unpopular opinion, but I think the bulk of WWE fans are wrestling fans, not sports entertainment fans. And to me, Nia Jax's spot should be, again, for a Piper Niven or just somebody else. I mean, Nia Jax, I think, and she could prove me wrong. I don't know. I don't know how much time she spent down in the Performance Center while she's been away, while she's been recovering. I hope she comes back. If she comes back, when she comes back, more than likely. I hope she surprises me. But anyway, sorry about that little soapbox moment, but I'm just... Nia Jax is kind of like my female version of Baron Corbin. Just I don't get it. Sticking with the Raw Women's title for just a second. What if, and we've touched on this on prior shows. So usually a month after WrestleMania, they usually have their superstar shakeup draft, whatever you want to call it. What if, let's just say Becky keeps the belt for the next month. And let's just assume Shayna. I'll phrase it better this way. Let's say Shayna doesn't win it. Do you think that they would move Shayna back to NXT to compete with Charlotte for the NXT belt to help that Wednesday night war with AEW?
So I was thinking about this last night. I also I don't want to jump too far ahead. Night 2, Bianca Belair shows up, and I know that she's married to Montez Ford, and it could just be that. But I was shocked that they gave her a platform at WrestleMania to show up and beat up on Zelina Vega. So I almost was thinking, is this like a hint that she might be getting a call up to Raw? And I don't really like calling it a call up because they're trying to make NXT like its own thing,
right?
But I'm wondering if they're like the idea is to move her to Raw,
could be
as well. So if for some reason Bianca was getting moved up and Shayna was just like a kind of a shock fill for Mania and then going back to NXT, I could see that. But honestly, NXT doesn't need Shayna anymore.
Oh, I 100% agree. They don't need her, but they don't need Charlotte either.
They don't. Well, I get the Charlotte thing just from the same standpoint of like bringing Finn Balor down or bringing certain people down to try to compete.
Agreed.
She's a name where Shayna, I don't think, has the same draw as Charlotte does. And the rest of the women can put on great matches with Charlotte now that they wouldn't have the chance to probably do anywhere else. So I don't know. I think Shayna's on Raw. I think that was like it would almost not make sense to keep her down at this point on NXT.
Well, and I agree with that. I'm more so just thinking out loud. I mean, because that was just something that rolled around in my head as we were talking. From a logic standpoint, no, it doesn't make sense. But how many times has WWE thrown logic out the window and just done whatever they wanted? Because, case in point, this women's title match, if there's a bigger, loftier goal, again, if Shayna wins the title tonight on Raw, okay, then so be it, whatever. I don't get her not winning the title last night whenever you built her up to be this monster. John says they'll have Shayna buzzsaw through everything to make her seem out of control, which they should. And yes, Bianca will be moving to a major. I guess he's saying Bianca's going to be moving to Raw now. He says no one needs Shayna. Well, I don't know. I think she's probably in my top 5 as far as in-ring skill in terms of females across the board WWE wise. I mean, and her MMA background definitely helps with that.
Her mic skills are atrocious.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
She needs a Paul Heyman.
Yeah, agreed.
Her mic skills are terrible.
Agreed. That's the next thing I was going to say. She needs a mouthpiece. You know, if she's going to be like John said, if she's going to buzzsaw through everything, if she's going to be a Brock Lesnar-ish kind of persona, she needs someone to talk for her. Now, it's probably not going to be Paul Heyman because, like we've said, he wants to pull back from the on-screen stuff because he's pretty much running Raw backstage now. So it'd be interesting to see if she gets that mouthpiece, who it might be. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head who would make sense. I don't know. To be determined, I guess. Brandon says Bianca would shake up the women's division.
100% agree.
Thomas says, could they be setting up Rousey and Baszler? This is a perfect segue. Becky loses to Baszler, and Rousey comes back at SummerSlam. That was my thought. I thought that Baszler was going to win the title last night, and that they would kind of, in the coming weeks and months, that they would, bring Rousey back. Maybe they bring her back tonight. This was my thought process going into WrestleMania. Baszler wins last night, or the night before, sorry. As the Raw after WrestleMania, one of their big deals or big segments or whatever, they bring Rousey back. They initially tease that she's going to go against Shayna, but then they kind of solidify what seems to be like their friendship or whatever. Then over the next few weeks and months, they start the slow split between the two, kind of like that. They sow the seeds basically. Over the next few weeks, and then you have a Baszler-Rousey match at SummerSlam. That was my thought process.
Something just came across my mind. What if this is a setup for a triple threat match? What if this is set up to where Becky doesn't lose the belt clean? What if it's set up to where Shayna wins it by, Becky and Ronda getting so caught up and trying to one up each other that she sneaks a victory on one of them? And then it sets up Becky leaving and going on her little hiatus for a while and sets up a Ronda-Shayna storyline. Because that, to me, seems like where it might be headed.
If they're going to go that route, then that means Becky's not going to be able to take her hiatus.
Unless she drops it at this next pay-per-view. What if this is one of the marquee matches where a title could change at Money in the Bank? In the next couple of weeks, and then you also have the idea that there's going to be a Money in the Bank winner out there, who could come in and cash in on Shayna or cash in. The other thing I thought of is Shayna could end up winning the Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is literally 2 weeks away. They could have her qualify for a Money in the Bank match. They could bring Ronda back now, and they could do Ronda versus Becky, and have Ronda win it, and then Shayna come out and take it from Ronda.
Yeah, the point is there's a lot of directions they could go with this, and maybe that's their long-term logic with having Becky retain on Saturdays on night one. I don't really know, but to me it's like they wasted Shayna's big, just the way she mowed through everybody at Hell in a Cell. I just think it takes that momentum off, and like John said, maybe she becomes more out of control, that she becomes this buzzsaw kind of persona where she just dominates in her matches, where she attacks the opponent after the matches, where she comes out and does run-ins for other women's matches just to play off her, dominant character. Mark says Shayna's the best female wrestler to come along in a long time. They can't drop the ball with her. They need to find a way to keep the momentum going before it burns out. 100% agree. Brandon says Bianca should win Money in the Bank. That would be an interesting...
I would love that, but I don't see it.
I don't either, unfortunately.
Not yet.
John says her mic skills are the problem. By the way, I've been podcasting and promoting for years. You two are doing great. Love to see the new people in the business. John, we really appreciate it. Brandon says Or Ripley could win to go back to the top to beat Charlotte.
I can see that.
There's a lot of ways they could go through to go about this.
They definitely have us talking.
So the next match was Sami Zayn against Daniel Bryan for the Intercontinental title in a match that went a little over 9 minutes. So this is one where I picked Daniel Bryan to win just because of I'm going into both nights of WrestleMania thinking that maybe with the exception of one of the title matches, maybe two of the title matches, they're going to have a bunch of title changes. This is one I was incorrect on, and I was surprised at the result. Surprised how Sami Zayn for the most part got the clean win. Daniel Bryan got distracted, but inevitably, I mean, he came off the top rope, and Sami caught him with his modified version of the Helluva Kick. Again, another one of those matches where I thought it was what it was. I think that given a longer time frame, they could have put on a better match, because you got to remember these two guys were also indie darlings, so to speak, at one point, and they were putting on good matches in the indies. And I don't know if it's just because of age, injuries, whatever. It just seemed like that they were working a softer style. It could just be because there's no crowd. I don't really know. But again, the match just kind of seemed to me it was what it was kind of thing.
I'll say this. Not that they couldn't put on a great match, because they both are capable.
Agreed.
This was a match that would have been 10 times better with a crowd, though. The reason why is that, one, Daniel Bryan and Drew, their team up came at the wrong time. Because I think they would be getting Yes chants over even harder right now with the fact that Drew is doing them as well with Daniel. And that team up's kind of meshing pretty well. Not to mention that Sami gets such a draw from the crowd, from a heel perspective. And so I think with all the running around, playing cat and mouse kind of game, would have had the crowd going nuts. I know at home I was kind of like, what is he doing? Like it just had me wanting to boo Sami. But this was one of the ones I picked. I picked Sami to win this one. Mainly because it just seems like they have way more planned for this artist collective and for Sami Zayn, for him to lose that belt so quickly, especially when they just had Braun lose it so quickly. So it just seemed like a really weird title shift to shift it again right at Mania.
Yeah, and I don't mind them keeping the belt on Sami. It's really odd that for the longest time he's kind of like the mouthpiece of the group, and then all of a sudden he's an in-ring competitor again. And I think that wasn't that not his first in-ring match back for a while, and he wins the Intercontinental title against Strowman, or did he have a match prior to that?
I mean, he had kind of been in a couple of like handicap matches where he was in it, but not the main focal point. But again, he's kind of like a Samoa Joe. Like they're scared to use him because every time he starting to really work hardcore matches and a hardcore schedule, he gets hurt.
Yeah. And
they have a lot of money invested in him, and he is a good mouthpiece. I will give him credit where credit's due. If he ever gets to a point where he can't wrestle in rear career anymore, he has a career at broadcasting or as a manager. Dude can talk.
100% agree. And you brought up a good point. I'm wondering if... So it was rumored that Samoa Joe is healthy. He's back. He's not on a wellness policy suspension any longer. And so it was rumored that he might make a return at WrestleMania. That didn't happen. I wonder if he comes back tonight, and if they throw him into this storyline and then kind of make it like a 3-on-3 kind of thing, like if he partners with Daniel and Drew, or if they might somehow partner him back up with Kevin Owens. That's one debut, and I'm going to call it that he makes his return tonight.
Yeah, I mean, so Sami and them are on SmackDown, so he would have to make the jump to SmackDown, which they've done before, but I think they'll keep him on Raw. I think they'll keep Joe on Raw at least until a shakeup or something was to happen. It wouldn't shock me to see him come in and go into the United States title picture, though.
So here's my logic, too, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but So like you mentioned, these guys are on SmackDown, and obviously it's Raw tonight. Don't they have the Raw after WrestleMania include both brands?
They could, especially in this predicament where there was only so many people on hand to utilize anyways. Like, I don't know if you noticed, what match was it? The 24/7 spot, championship spot. It was all like unknown wrestlers that were chasing Mojo Rawley.
Yeah.
So they probably don't have a lot of people on hand. So it wouldn't shock me if there was like a SmackDown versus Raw kind of, minor NXT influence that you see on Raw tonight, and maybe even on SmackDown at the end of the week. But again, still, I would be shocked if they moved him to SmackDown.
Yeah. And I'm at this point, as we go, I'm kind of just spitballing ideas. Some of these I've thought about. Either way, I still think, regardless of whatever storyline he gets put in, I think Samoa Joe makes his return tonight as kind of one of their big deals. Again, it's the Raw after WrestleMania. They might keep him with Kevin Owens. They might
start a storyline with them.
They might just start something fresh. I would completely 100% be okay with him starting a program with Drew McIntyre, and we'll get to that. But I want to read a couple other comments real quick. By the way, guys, if you're commenting on our stream, if you could do your best to leave the profanity out, we try as best as we can to be as, not to, I'm going to sound like WWE, but we try to be as family friendly as possible. We keep the profanity to a minimum. So if you guys could do that on the comments, I'd appreciate it. Brandon says, do you think last night was the end of the Monday Night Messiah? We'll get there. Matthew says, when will they finally unveil a new United States title? I hope soon. Because that, as of right now, I'm pretty sure that's the longest tenured belt, like physical belt in WWE, and it's by far the ugliest, in my opinion.
Probably something you'll see once crowds are back in too. It would be kind of silly to unveil a new one.
I think crowd or no crowd, I think they just need to do it soon. I mean, it's an atrocity of a belt, in my opinion. But all right, so then we've got John Morrison against Jimmy Uso and Kofi Kingston, the triple threat singles ladders match for the SmackDown tag team titles. And this was, I liked the match. Despite the fact that it was for a tag team title, I liked the match itself. It had some good spots to it. And for a ladder match, it had minimal botches. I don't even remember one off the top of my head, to be completely honest with you. I mean, John Morrison did a really cool tightrope walk in one of their spots. And I talked to Cole about this, I didn't like how it ended, because back in the day when you had ladder matches, you literally had the belt or belts just, when they had the snapped over a hoop. You had to unsnap the belt to grab it. Now they've got this hook that you have to unhook that has the belts on it. And so it's like, I don't want to say they're changing the rules, but it's like, if you're going to unhook the hook, you should have to have that in your hand when you win the belt. And this might just be me being picky. I might be in the minority on this. But between that and the fact that, because there wasn't a crowd, you could literally hear, because all the belts are Velcroed now, you could hear the of John Morrison or whoever was doing it during that spot. So you knew it was coming. And I don't know. I didn't care for the ending. I'm not surprised with the result. This was kind of one of my bravery picks. I picked Usos to win, or whichever Uso was in. I think it was Jimmy. I picked them to win it, but not surprised with the result. What do you think?
My thoughts. I loved it. I thought the match was
the match itself was good.
I will say this WrestleMania, you get what you gave to it. I went into this WrestleMania excited. I went in expecting it to be great for what it was. If you went into this WrestleMania expecting it to be like past WrestleManias, you were going to be disappointed. And so I kind of was like you. I went in with a very as impartial mindset as I could.
Not pessimistic, but not too overly optimistic. Hopeful.
I went in wanting to enjoy wrestling.
Right.
I was excited. I wasn't gonna let. I'm glad they went through with it. I was genuinely entertained with the entire card. This is one of those matches where I loved with everything stacked against them. When people pulled out, whether they were sick or they felt uncomfortable, whatever the case was, they were able to make a swerve and still have a great match. And so this was a great swerve to have a singles ladder match for tag titles. I was like, this is great because each person's representing their team. So it's kind of like if they lose, they're letting their team down. And I'm wondering if they're going to make a play on that, going forward. The three that were in that match were perfect for a ladder match. Kofi Kingston is great. John Morrison, great. Jimmy Uso, I was actually super impressed with him as far as throwing on a great singles wrestler match. He didn't have his brother to kind of feed off of or do, it's like tag team moves with.
Yeah, 100% agree. And that was the other thing I was impressed with about this match is that, so you had Kofi Kingston, who, he's had singles runs before. John Morrison, he's had singles runs before. Jimmy Uso has not. He's always been in a tag team. But between Jimmy Uso and, so Kofi has been in tag teams for the better part of, minus his WWE title run. I mean, he's been in tag teams with New Day for, gosh, I don't know, 6-7 years now, maybe
at least.
I mean,
and not before, and before that, Evan Bourne.
For sure.
He's been in the tag team circuit a lot.
But for guys that are generally accustomed to tag team wrestling, maybe not so much John Morrison, because I mean he wrestled singles on the Indies and in Impact before he came back to WWE.
He's been in the big match before,
right? And just I was really impressed with the overall dynamic of this match. Whether they planned out spots or not, they executed them, and I mean it was a good match. My only criticism of this match, I just didn't like the ending, but again,
I liked the ending. I told you that in our text. I liked it from the standpoint of it was a great way to keep the two teams that are over, such as New Day and Usos, not lose in a way that made them look weak. They lost in a way where their competitiveness lost them the match because John just fell with the belts in his hands. Also, shout out to that music video that him and Miz shot. That thing was hilarious. Okay, I just wanted to say that John Morrison and the Miz are killing it as heels that are taking cheesiness to a whole new level and making it work.
And what's funny is that they're heels that you take seriously, but they're accomplishing it in a way that they're still comedic heels, and that's not easy to do. And so, props to Miz and Morrison both for just being able to achieve that, because usually you either have comedic heels that you don't take seriously or heels that you take seriously, but they're in no way comedic or whatever. They're usually serious, and just
they're literally roasting people, and it's
for sure.
It's just fun. It's fun to watch. I'm shocked it didn't get more attention than it did, because that music video was hilarious.
Agreed. Next match was KO and Seth Rollins. This was initially just a standard wrestling match. Kevin Owens was initially the winner whenever Seth Rollins hit him with the ring bell. Kevin Owens said, no, restart the match. We're going to do this no DQ. To me, this was match of the night. We'll get to the Undertaker Styles match, their Boneyard match.
That's different though.
I'm not really going to classify that as a match. I mean, although it was, I'm strictly going off of, I don't even want to say in-ring matches. I want to say in-venue matches. Because on the second night, I'm going to count Edge and Orton as a match. But, I would say this was match of the night. They had some really good spots. Excuse me. KO did a dive onto a table onto Seth. Seth took that dive like a champ. I don't know if
Yeah.
you saw, like, he legit took KO's elbow to the sternum. I mean, that looked brutal. I mean, that was not good camera work. That was just strictly KO putting an elbow into his stomach, into his sternum. But some wicked chair shots, and I know that they're going to sound more amplified in an empty arena. There's going to be that more reverberation and echo, but still, you can't fake a chair shot. Am I having a brain lapse? There were chair shots after the once a no DQ place. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so once the no DQ was put in place, I mean, all bets were off. There were chair shots. Again, KO did a dive off the top of the WrestleMania, what would have been the WrestleMania Tron. They've kind of put it off to the side of the ring as just like their big
spot,
big,
whatever.
yeah.
Right.
KO still gets the win after the stunner, which I'm not a fan of the recycled Stone Cold gimmick, but I mean, at this point, whatever, just it's working, run with it. I'm probably in the minority that doesn't like that they're recycling it, but
I'll say that one, Seth Rollins is great. I love Seth Rollins has always been known to take the big what's the word I'm looking for? He'll take the hit. You know, we saw that when he was taking all those F5s from Brock Lesnar onto the gurneys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he will let you throw him. like he'll let you beat on him. And so I loved this match. I agree for night one, match of the night. This puts over KO. The only thing that worries me about this match is that Kevin Owens, to me, is like, with this match, deserves to be in that main title picture, but I don't want to see him up against Drew.
I don't either. I don't think he needs to be put in that spot yet.
And the reason why is that I want KO to win it, but I don't want Drew to lose it this soon. And so I'm kind of like, I almost kind of want a superstar shakeup and put them on different shows and let KO go for a main title, because KO's mic skills are top 5 right now to me. I mean, he has just been doing really well on the mic. He puts on great matches. That spot jumping off the Titan, whatever you want to call that was a Shane McMahon jump. I mean, that was.
Oh, for sure. That camera angle made it look shorter than what it really was.
It was a great spot.
Because right before he did it, they had a zoomed out view of it. I mean, it was maybe lasted a second or two before they went into the close-up shot of like looking straight above. You know, you're looking straight above, like Kevin Owens is up here, and like the camera is right by Seth Rollins. So that view didn't make it look as if it was that far, but the not zoomed out, but just, I mean, yeah, the zoomed out view had a better representation of how far that drop was. I mean, I don't think it was a Hell in a Cell onto an announcer's table jump, but it was pretty close. I mean, maybe an extra couple feet shorter, but still, I mean, whenever you're jumping 17 feet or 20 feet, you know, how big of a difference does that extra 3 feet make?
It was a great spot. So I love the match. I don't know where KO goes from here.
I agree, and it's really hard to tell. Again, I don't know if they bring him. I don't know if they bring Samoa Joe back and do a feud with those two, like do a Samoa Joe.
I would love it.
Heel turn.
It would be great.
So we'll see. We've got the 2-minute match of Braun Strowman and Goldberg.
Does it shock you?
No. I mean, it didn't. Either the Universal or World Title matches, both nights, the length did not surprise me at all. This match was literally a little more than 2 minutes. Strowman takes 3-4 spears. I don't remember the exact number at this. I was kind of just phoning it in and waiting for the Undertaker and Styles match. But anyway, Strowman picks up the win after he hits Goldberg with
4. I think it was 3 stand up power slams, and then he did the running power slam to get the pin.
Yeah, I mean, literally, this match only consisted of spears or power slams. I think those were the only two moves in this match.
I did love the tease of him trying to pick Braun Strowman up, over his head.
Oh yeah,
I loved, like, we saw you do that with Bray, buddy. You were not about to do that to Braun
he
Strowman.
couldn't even do it to Undertaker, and Undertaker's the lightest of those three.
I was like, there's no way you're about to pick that man up. We all know it. Don't even try it.
Yeah.
Like,
couple of quick comments, and I want to get to one of them in particular. Sean says, I like that belt. I appreciate it. I'll show it again here in just a second. Sean says KO was awesome, had a great match. Brandon says match of the night for the first night. He also says KO and Sammy for the IC title. I wouldn't be surprised if they go that route, especially if they take Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak and put him in the tag title run. That would make sense. I mean, you'd give someone to go after the IC title, and you're playing off the history of KO and Sammy. I don't know if they'll go that route. I mean, it would make sense, but I don't think they're going to do that.
gotta have a superstar shakeup.
That
Right now they're sticking to rosters, so
yeah,
for the most part. So they're not going to do all this, putting KO on SmackDown and Charlotte on NXT and Raw and all this moving around stuff without actually moving them around. So
yeah,
wouldn't shock me if he's in the United States title picture, but I feel like that's a demotion for what he's doing.
agreed. Sean says it sucked. Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, just I like your style, flat out and to the point. Yeah,
It was the Braun Strowman match.
Yeah.
I mean, and I was talking about this, and I'll talk about the other match that was pretty self-explanatory. Who the winner was going to be. These are guys who don't put on long matches. I mean, like, I want, especially, I think Roman and Goldberg had something more special than that planned, at least. But
I hope so.
But with the last minute swerve, like, what were you gonna do? They didn't have time to plan a match. They said, okay, I'm gonna spear you 4 times. I'm gonna pretend to try to lift you over my head, and then you're gonna power slam me as many times as you feel like you need to get the pin.
And I guess the way I'm looking at it is kind of like you said. I really hope that Goldberg and Roman Reigns had a longer match planned. I can say with almost 100% certainty that any fan of WWE, even if they are a hardcore WWE fan, they don't watch any other product out there. WWE, they're WWE for life. They won't watch any other brand. Even those fans, I bet, are sick of these 2, 3, 4, 5 minute title matches where you have a part-timer as champion. And like you said, they did with what they had in the circumstances. I'm almost certain that the whole plan was for Goldberg to drop the title at WrestleMania because he's going to take another hiatus. I mean, honestly, I hope for good. I hope this is the last time we see Goldberg in a wrestling ring.
There's too many Saudi shows for that.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
No, on a serious note, though, that's probably why the Alexa Bliss match, the Nikki and Alexa match, went a little bit longer too, was to kind of fill time to fill that first night as well, because that match probably got shortened a lot.
Yeah.
Probably by 5-6 minutes. It probably would have been about a 10-12 minute match, just because I don't think Goldberg can go that long. But I don't know. I liked it. I told you, I'm glad Braun Strowman benefits from this for once. I'm glad
Agreed.
that he gets a win in this column. I'm glad he's got a belt. It's long overdue. And my advice to WWE would be capitalize on this like you did Kofi Kingston. Make the most of this until it's time to take it off of him. Make the most of this run, which is why I joked and said, why not do the Fiend versus Bray Wyatt and play, or versus Braun, and do like a play on their time together in the Wyatt family and how he betrayed him and all this stuff.
See, I don't think they will, though.
They won't.
Like,
but
a lot of these comments, like Matthew says, is Strowman going to lose to Roman anyway? So does this even matter? Yeah, I mean, well, I'll read some more of these comments real quick and I'll address it. Brandon says, we knew Goldberg was going to drop the belt regardless, but if you think about it, it sets up for a better match come SummerSlam, Strowman versus Reigns. William says, Oldberg. Matthew says, Goldberg versus Roman would have been nearly the same, except Roman hit some Superman punches. Yeah, I mean, I think the match would have gone longer than 2 minutes.
They
So,
would
I
have
mean,
had way more spears. They were promoting spear versus spear. You would have saw probably 15 spears in that match.
yeah. John says Vince has his 2 big beefy boys as full-time champs now. He's at home grinning ear to ear. But as far as the future of the Universal title, I don't even know if they're going to wait until SummerSlam to put the belt on Roman Reigns. I think as soon as Roman Reigns says, "Okay, I'm good to compete," I'll come back. I feel safe enough physically that I'll do a Raw show, Raw taping, live, however they do it, with or without a crowd, as soon as possible. And I'm thinking that it's going to happen sooner than later. And I'm not going to get off on too much of a tangent as far as news or politics or anything like that. But from what I'm seeing, the peak of this coronavirus stuff is supposed to be in a couple weeks, and then the downturn hopefully is going to be after that. And from what I'm reading, that a lot of sporting events are going to start to have crowds as soon as June or July, and then we'll be back to normal, sporting events with normal sized crowds, hopefully by August, which sucks. I mean, because that's basically an entire summer of not having a whole lot of sporting events. But anyway, I digress. The point I'm making is that if they're good to go or close to good to go by June, let's say, I think they're going to put the belt on him as soon as they possibly can. And I think that's just going to be up to Roman Reigns when he says, "All right, Vince, let's do this. I'm good to go."
Agreed. I did read a rumor that says he's going to be out longer than expected. So it wouldn't shock me if he gets it at SummerSlam or somewhere deeper into the summer, which is why I'm saying this is the perfect time to capitalize on Braun Strowman during all this. Mm-hmm. Let him have a great run. Let him run through some guys. Let him build him in a way that makes him look good. And right. I'm okay with him beating some guys that can take an L for once. So let Shinsuke have a run at the title, against him and kind of play back off of their Intercontinental feud.
Mm-hmm.
Let Strowman get the win. Build him in a way that when it's time for him to lose the belt, he loses the belt. Okay.
And I think they need to build him as a heel at this point. I mean, however they do it, I mean, especially if they're going to try to have him drop it to Roman Reigns eventually, and they're going to want to have Roman Reigns as that baby face in the feud. I think they just need to build Strowman into this monster heel. And and I said this on our last show, you can even play off the fact of his previous Twitter comments about, the indie guys that are just opening up their GoFundMe campaigns because they're doing that because there's no wrestling right now, and I personally don't fault indie wrestlers for doing that, but Strowman was basically ripping on them, saying that they shouldn't be doing that, that they couldn't they couldn't save a dime or whatever, and then it got into this feud with I think it was Jim Cornette or whatever. But I'm saying not necessarily play off that specifically, but just play off the fact, and you can even mention it in the storyline, but just play off the fact that Strowman has reached this pinnacle, becomes cocky, whatever, and just turn him into a heel if they're going to if WWE is wanting that reaction to Roman Reigns winning the Universal title. They need to do it in such a way that Strowman comes off looking like this monstrous heel that, kind of like you said, blows through everybody, destroys competition, and also give him more of a persona that makes the fans want to hate him.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I see him as a face right now, and I don't know if they'll switch that up, but I also say there's not really a major heel to put against him right now on SmackDown. Like, if you really were to think about it, there's not someone that I'm just like, yep, he's ready to go.
Because there's not.
Because there's not really someone ready. So with there being no crowd right now, this is the perfect heel turn opportunity for Strowman.
Agreed.
This is the perfect time to be like, hey, come out, people were probably happy that he beat Goldberg, but this would be the perfect time for him to come out. You don't have Braun Strowman beat Goldberg the way he did when you've sold Goldberg to be this monster who comes in and just spears Bray Wyatt and beats him the way he did. To have Strowman to kind of squash match him and then come out and be like, yeah, I'm humble about it. Let him come out, be this arrogant, cocky, just crazy, I'm the best there ever is. Let him run through some guys that are faces, and then let him lose it to a returning Roman Reigns.
Agreed. And kind of like you mentioned, you're not going to have to worry about that element of the live crowd, just not being, I don't want to say not being receptive of it, but if you have a live crowd and Strowman is attempting this heel turn, but it's just not received with the crowd, if it falls flat, then it's just going to be like, oh, okay, well, we didn't get the reaction we're wanting, but we're still going to run with it because we're WWE and we can do whatever we want. Just a few quick comments. Let's see. Sean said Taker had a great match. Goldberg match was horrible. We're going to get to the Taker and Styles match here in just a second. This is interesting. Thomas says, I saw a rumor that Goldberg didn't want to drop the title to Braun, that he told McMahon that he thought Strowman was a joke, and that Vince said he wasn't having Goldberg back. I have not seen that.
Haven't seen it. It wouldn't shock me.
Not at all.
Because a lot of people feel that way about Braun. Like I said, I think they missed the mark with Braun a couple years back already. So I think this was long overdue.
Agreed.
But I haven't read that or seen that, and I've been looking for WrestleMania stories left and right of why they did this or that. And I haven't seen that. I have seen several people get in fights with Vince. I read one about Kofi Kingston getting into a fight with Vince, and I did see something about Goldberg getting in a fight with Vince, and I could see him being displeased.
Well, I think the Kofi fight was something entirely separate. Like, he was telling a story about a flight he had. This has been years ago.
And it's like they're trying to surface it as like it just happened.
Yeah.
The Goldberg, I did see like a rumor that Goldberg got into it with Vince, but I didn't see anything about Vince not wanting him back or that's too much money, especially for Saudi shows. I don't see that happening.
If his name is not CM Punk, Vince will have anybody back for the right amount of money. I shouldn't even say that. I mean,
for the right price and the right draw, money talks.
Yeah. William says give Lashley a match for the title in the meantime. Yeah, I mean, you can throw anybody in this.
A lot of those guys are on Raw, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lashley's on.
I do like Brandon Randall here says Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe's one you could get away with because he's been off air.
Yeah, you could move him over and it wouldn't be a big deal.
People wouldn't really think about it like that. I'm a purist, so when you say there's rosters, I look at rosters. I would know, but some people probably wouldn't think of it that way, and I think that would be a great match. The problem I have with that is that Samoa Joe shouldn't lose.
And the thing is, if you're WWE, you can have this Raw and SmackDown and NXT. You can have this draft superstar shakeup anytime you want. They could announce it tonight and say, hey, we're doing this in 2 weeks. Save Samoa Joe for his return on that show. If he goes to SmackDown, he could go against Strowman. But I agree from the standpoint, if Samoa Joe is going to be in a title picture, he should win the title.
Yeah, there's just certain guys that can't afford to take L's right now, and Samoa Joe to me is one of them.
Samoa Joe you don't bring back and have him lose matches.
He's got to go on at least another mid-title run. Like, you can't have him lose.
Yeah. Man, it's 10 o'clock already. We're going to have to speed this up a little bit. Undertaker and Styles in the Boneyard match, about 19 minutes. I'm going to be in the minority on this. I thought this was okay. I've read on social media where people thought that this and the Firefly Funhouse were super amazing, awesome, whatever adjective you want to put with it. I thought this was okay. I didn't think it was amazing. I thought it was very well executed. I thought it was well filmed. Like Cole said, there's a lot of cinematic aspects to WrestleMania. This match and the Firefly Funhouse in particular. I definitely preferred this over the Firefly Funhouse. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit. But mainly because this felt more like an actual match. Again, it wasn't in the venue. It was a Boneyard match. It was in a cemetery. I didn't really have much else to say about it other than just, Undertaker came back with his ABA gimmick. I like the aspect of it felt more personal / less kayfabe. I mean, they're Undertaker was mentioning AJ. He was calling him by his real name, Alan, a few times throughout the match, mainly early in the match. Inevitably, Undertaker gets the win, and this went about 20 minutes. I thought it was. I don't think it felt too long. I thought it was about the right length it should have been. There's something I can't put my finger on it, but again, social media was blowing up about this at the end of night one, in particular, that this was the best thing that WWE has produced in a long time. I read a joke that this was the best film, or this was the best movie that WWE Films has ever released, which there could be some truth to that because WWE films are not exactly cinematic worthy. I think I came out of this though just feeling like it was a copy. I don't want to say ripoff, but a copy of a lot of the Matt Hardy broken segments that have been around for better part of a couple years already.
So this is what I'll say. One, I'm gonna be in the majority. I freaking loved it. And I think and I'm gonna bring a different viewpoint on it.
Go for it.
I'll say this. Matt Hardy, people have been doing what Matt Hardy's done before Matt Hardy. Lucha Underground was shooting promos and things of that nature that looked more movie-ish or more cinematic kind of promos. They didn't really do like behind the scenes or back scene interviews. They did like clips, like cinematic clips.
Right.
So, and I'm not just saying Matt Hardy because I love what he does, but that's kind of for me the first time I'd ever seen like a promotion or anything WWE or anything professional wrestling kind of do where it was more like shot like a acting scene more than a promo. I absolutely love this match. One, I love AJ Styles. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. He did phenomenal in this match.
Oh, they both did.
For someone who's never really done any like acting as far as like from a cinematic standpoint, to that degree, I thought he did great in this. The Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson looked a little cheesy in it, but they only had a very small role in that match, so it didn't bother me too much. I thought Undertaker was amazing in this. I thought
Agreed.
There was a lot of creativity that went into this as well. I thought, but my standpoint is going to be this. With it being the kind of WrestleMania that it was, this was the perfect thing to do. This and the Firefly Funhouse, and I'll go into detail on that later. But this match, one, it had me on the edge of my seat the entire time that it was going on because I wanted to know what happened, and it made me want to watch the next night.
Keep talking. I gotta do something real quick. I'll be back in a minute or two.
So I absolutely loved that match in itself. I thought, like, for instance, I thought that when Undertaker was like talking to AJ and he was like, "Oh, I'm old. Oh, I'm this. Oh, I'm that." Like, I just thought it was an absolutely great acting performance from Undertaker's standpoint. I thought he looked good. I thought that AJ and him sold this as a great match. And I think that to me, this was the perfect way to end night one to bring people back for night two. This was the perfect way to keep people on the edge of their seat. It was also a way to make Undertaker look good with his age. A lot of people have been giving him crap about his lack of performance ability in certain matches. I thought this was the way that you could make Undertaker look good without making and have a longer match even without him looking gassed or without him looking so terrible in the ring. So I thought it was overall just a great way to end the night. And I'll even, as much as people might want to see him actually have one last actual match, I would say that this is the match that he should retire on. And I'll say that again for Alex to hear. I think this is a match that he should retire on. I think that this kept me coming back for night 2. This kept me on the edge of my seat. I thought I said this while you were gone. I thought it was a great way for Undertaker to have a 20-minute match without him looking gassed, without him having what looked like a bad performance. And he looked good. He got put over. I think this is a great, like, right off into the sunset Undertaker. This is a match that I feel like you should retire on. Be proud of it. It was a great work. And honestly, this opens the door for a whole new wave of what could I don't want wrestling to be taken over by this, but it opens the door for some cool things to happen in professional wrestling.
Agreed on the Undertaker, this being his last match. I mean, it's got to end at some point, and I know he realizes it, and I know wrestling fans realize it, but this was the best way for him to go out on top because, someone like AJ Styles putting over the Undertaker, and I'm not going to get on this soapbox. I think he should have retired with the streak intact. I don't think he should have lost to Lesnar. I don't think he should have lost to Roman. I think he should have retired, 20, however many, and 0. I think he just, I don't think they should have had him lose. I get why they did it now. But kind of like you mentioned, I think this could be his riding off into the sunset thing. And it's funny you said that phrase because I'm even thinking as I'm watching it at the time, what if they had Taker get on his bike and, I mean, it's obviously dark, so there's no sunset, but if they had some kind of like, AJ reaching his hand out from the grave or whatever, but then they closed with like Taker riding on his bike towards like this light that's like super far away, but it like lights up, so it's kind of like riding off in the sunset kind of deal. But it could just be this thing where Undertaker has been so associated with just a darker persona, but he's finally achieved all he wants to achieve, and now he's riding off into this light or something like that, which could have been their way of kind of sending him off or whatever. I don't know. From a cinematic standpoint, that's what I was thinking would have made sense, but I'm not in.
I still got that riding off to the end of the sunset feel with the flames hitting out of that building, the Undertaker like a logo kind of lighting up. It was great. I loved it. I get where people might be the minority that is frustrated with it or just thought it was because it wasn't an actual match,
right?
It had that cinematic vibe, but that's why I said it's a different view for me. When you look at it from the standpoint of what this WrestleMania was, it with no crowd, with them wanting to keep people tuning in for, especially for a night 2. This match alone would have had me watch WrestleMania Part 2.
Oh, 100% agree.
It had me on the edge of my seat. I was like jaw dropped the entire time. I was like, wow.
And just for clarification, I thought this match was better than like you said. I when I said it was okay, my okay is better than others' okay. Whenever I say my okay is better than average is what I'll call it.
I don't want people to overhype it. You know what I mean? Like I don't want it to seem like it was it was the most amazing match Undertaker's ever had. No. But I will say it just made Undertaker, he didn't look old in the match. He didn't look, he looked good. The match looked good. I did laugh a little bit with the fake punch sounds. Like the movies, but it just was different, and it made WrestleMania better on this WrestleMania.
Yeah, night 1. I mean, this was a good end to night 1. I'll say it like that. And it didn't make AJ look weak at all. I read where people thought that AJ was buried, no pun intended. I don't look at it like that at all. Even if AJ didn't reach his hand out from the grave, I still don't think this would have buried AJ. I think they did what they needed to do. I think WWE accomplished what they needed to do with this match.
AJ looked good in it.
They both did. I mean,
I loved what Undertaker said. You did good, kid. Yeah, like I love that he gave AJ correct. Like I thought it was genuine. It felt genuine. It wasn't like he was mocking him. I thought it was cool. Or he was like, "You did good, kid, but I'm the Undertaker." You know, like you're
It was very reminiscent of back in the day when Undertaker wrestled Jeff Hardy in a ladder match, and Undertaker kind of showed a sign of respect to Hardy whenever Hardy was still wanting to go, helped him up, acted like he was going to hit him again, but then kind of just patted him on the neck. It was kind of like that show of respect, and it was again, it was a good way to end night one. I'm going to read a couple comments real quick. Where do we leave off here? Let's see. Thomas says, agreed, if he's going to retire, then this is the match to go out on. Matthew says, Taker in Hall of Fame in Hollywood 2021.
Yeah.
I hope so. Brandon says, never should have lost to Lesnar. Matthew says, doesn't it make more sense for the Taker persona to ride off into the darkness? That's just it. It wasn't the Taker persona, though, because it wasn't, I mean, it was Undertaker, but it was his ABA gimmick. And so, because it was more of a human-esque persona, I guess what I'm getting at is that was kind of my idea. Again, I thought that last night. I'm just kind of sharing my thoughts. I mean, I get what you're saying. It could have, that could have made sense too. Chosen Boy says, I wonder if it weren't for the circumstances, if they would have tried to do a regular match. I couldn't imagine them doing this match any differently. Let's see. Thomas says, could have done without Gallus and company, especially the Dark Order rejects. Yeah, it's funny. I thought the exact same thing. At the time, I'm just like, this feels way too Dark Order-ish. Like they should have had him. They could have picked different attire or something for them.
That was the chance for the NXT stars to shine.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder who was under that. I mean,
we'll hear about it in 10 years.
Yeah.
From one of the indie stars who make it. I was one of the guys in the Taker match.
Or 2 or 3, yeah. Mark says, those who are and or were frustrated with it are those who expect nothing but the best from WWE. Excuse me. When they don't get what they want, they whine and complain about it. We should be thankful they even put on the show that they did. They very easily could have said no Mania this year and not did anything. I 99.9% agree with that. The 0.1% comes in where I would have been more okay with them not canceling it. I would have been more okay with them postponing it. But I get why they went ahead and held it, because at this point we still don't know when live events are going to happen. Like, it keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. Now they're saying, again, I mentioned this earlier, they're saying June or July is when they're going to start, sporting events are going to start ramping back up with crowds and hopefully be in full force by August or September. But the initial projection was they were going to start having crowds and sporting events in May, and that's seems like it's come and gone. I mean, there are cities that are already canceling 4th of July events. So I'm okay with them holding Mania.
I was glad to have something to watch.
I agree. And it was nice to have WrestleMania in whatever form it was in. So, tell you what, before we get into night 2,
promotional consideration paid for by the following.
I wanted to mention that you guys can check out the Going Broadway podcast with new shows every week on Apple and Google Podcasts, as well as a number of other platforms where you guys access your podcasting. For those of you watching us live right now, each show is archived, and you can go back and watch any one of them on Facebook or via our YouTube channel as well. We are at facebook.com/Going Broadway Podcast. We are goingbroadwaypodcast.com/YouTube. And we are on Twitter at Going BRDWY Pod. You can see that below our, how am I going to do this here? Right there, over there. And then Cole, can you point downward to your camera? Good enough.
I can't see my camera like you can.
Yeah,
see
I know. Those links are at the bottom of our screen. Please also download our free app. It's called Yo Radio. It can be also downloaded through the App Store or Google Play. Yo Radio is the most advanced user-driven streaming radio service on the market today. Everything you would expect and more from the most full-featured platforms ever developed. Listen to an endless genre of music, podcasting, including our show via the Lineup channel, sports news, and more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it's always 100% free. Again, that's Yo Radio, available via the App Store, Google Play, or by visiting yoradio.com. You can also check us out via our web host at lineupmedia.fm. Chosen Boy says, I think most of us thought AJ would or should win this match, but the outcome was very tasteful and left me satisfied. I don't know. I didn't see many people saying AJ was going to win this match.
I knew Undertaker was going to win this match.
Just real quick, if you guys are still on the stream, thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to review night 2. We're going to go through that in a quicker fashion. It's already 20 after 10 our time, 20 after 10 or 20 after 11 on the East Coast. And we're going to review this quicker. And I'd say in about 20, 25 minutes, we're going to do our next t-shirt giveaway. So stick around. If you are one of our first 1,500 likes on our Facebook page, you are entered to win. So we'll do that after we review night 2. So that being said, night 2, we had Liv Morgan and Natalya on the pre-show. I did not watch any of this match. I'm just being 100% honest.
I'm being honest. I would have watched it had it been Liv Morgan versus Ruby Riott versus Sarah Logan. This match, there was nothing for me.
Yeah. Liv Morgan won, by the way.
I was going to say, we only did our predictions for the main card. I would have went 1 for 2 on the kickoff shows because I would have picked Liv Morgan to win this match. But, yeah, for those of you who don't know, I went 13-3 on the night. Just throwing it out there.
But both nights, you mean?
Or, on both nights, yes, for the whole card.
Cole had 1 over on me. I went 12-4. We'll get there. I didn't do so well on night 1 because I had Becky Lynch losing, I had Sammy losing, and let's put it this way. I had Baszler winning, I had Daniel Bryan winning, and I had the Usos coming out the winner. So the first night I went, 6-3 on night 1.
Yeah, I went 7-1.
So night 2, and again, we're going to have to go through this a little quicker. We've kind of discussed storylines already to some degree, so this will probably go a little faster anyway. So the first match on the main card, Charlotte Flair defeats Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's title. This is one I actually got right. This was kind of one of my bravery picks that I got right. This match went a little over 20 minutes. I thought it was a fairly good opener, definitely better than night 1's opener. The thing that left me, I guess, my one criticism of this match is that there were too much theatrics on the part of Flair and Ripley both, as far as grunting and shouting whenever they took a move or executed a move, and it was just like it. If you guys have watched female tennis, it kind of reminded me of that times 10. And
no,
it was just, that was unnecessary. But the match itself was still okay. And I actually read a tweet from Chris Jericho, said he watched this. He recommended, he's like, if you mute the volume, it actually becomes more enjoyable. I didn't try it just because I wanted to hear what I wanted to hear the commentary, even though it was an empty venue. But Chris Jericho watched it. He said he muted the volume and actually made it more enjoyable. I could definitely see that for this match in particular because there were some unnecessary theatrics. So
it was good. I mean, that's all I really have to say is that it was a good opener. I figured Charlotte would win. I'm excited to see what she does on NXT and kind of where this all kind of unfolds. But yeah, it was good. I think it would have been better with the crowd. I think this is one of those matches that Rhea needed a crowd. Charlotte, I think, did all right without one. But I felt like Rhea really needed something to kind of motivate her and kind of work off of, and she didn't really have that.
Yeah, and it was interesting. I noticed as Rhea was doing her intro, whatever, she is already in the ring, and they got a camera view of Charlotte. Charlotte had this smirk on her face. It could have just been staying in character, but I almost looked at it as it's like she knows she's winning the title. Like she's smirking because she knows she's walking out of here with the belt. And I don't know. I could have just been reading more into that. I just was an interesting observation. The next match was Aleister Black against Bobby Lashley. No surprise here, at least for me. Aleister Black gets the win. I think they're teasing a Bobby Lashley-Lana split.
It was supposed to happen at Mania. The split was supposed to happen at Mania because it was supposed to be Bobby Lashley versus Rusev.
Right.
And we all know, if you don't know why Rusev wasn't in there, go look it up. I'm not going to spend time on that. But, yeah, this all kind of fell apart, which is why I think it just became an Aleister-Bobby Lashley match because they both wanted them. They wanted them on the card, and it was like, why not put them against each other? I liked the ending. I thought the ending was creative because she was trying to tell Bobby what to do, and he's gonna get tired of it and tell her to go kick rocks. And it might actually help get Bobby Lashley over. Who knows? I wouldn't mind seeing that happen. But ultimately, Aleister Black gets the win. I thought the match was all right.
So when you said Rusev isn't on the card, are you just referring to his contract dispute with WWE, or
There's also a rumor that he had a wellness violation policy as well.
Oh, okay, that's right. That is just a rumor at this point, guys.
We don't know if that's true or not. I don't know why he wasn't on the card, to be specific, but I know that there is a reason for it. They pulled him out of this storyline. The storyline, for some reason, was just completely over. So the fact that it wasn't on the card just tells you that there was a major reason why he wasn't on the card.
Agreed. And I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised, and not to get off on a tangent, I wouldn't be surprised if Rusev is out of WWE and in AEW before the year is out. And where that leaves Lana, I don't know. I think Rusev's just done with WWE. He's given them multiple chances to try to put him in a more prominent picture. I mean, obviously the fans have wanted it. He's gotten over with fans, and WWE's just, not having it. So
he would be good for Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I mean, we think that, and that's the problem. WWE doesn't look at it that way. The next match was Otis and Dolph Ziggler. I got to be honest, I actually fast-forwarded through this match because I had to pause it at one point, and I fast-forwarded through this match because it was too predictable. I knew it was going to happen, especially since they planted the seeds of the Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose split. Otis gets the win. He gets the girl, and it was a match that it was what it was. It fulfilled the storyline purposes, and
the only downfall I had to this match was that I wish we would have saw something more to do with the truth teller.
Yeah, I think it's added more intrigue to this storyline, and I don't know if it's just going to be I don't know if it's going to be exclusively associated with this storyline. I think it's just more on a broader picture. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are familiar with back in the day where they had GTV and they had like a secret camera in different spots. I think it's going to be similar to that. I'm intrigued to see who's behind it.
It's a cool gimmick. It's kind of a cool storyline, and it wouldn't shock me if it's kind of like the beginning of the Shield even kind of thing, where it's kind of like we're gonna bring justice to the things that are injustice.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it's gonna be a face persona, but it could also be a swerve, and they're just gonna go back and forth helping faces and heels out to get justice in a sense. So
yeah.
The only bummer to that was that I wanted to see something happen there. Which we didn't get to see. So, but Otis wins, gets the girl. It was predictable.
Yeah, agreed. And that's why I fast forwarded through it. Chosen Boy says, I was excited when Lashley came back to WWE. There we go. Now I change the channel when I see Lashley.
It's sad.
Brandon says, Rusev should be elite, LOL. Picked the wrong sound bite. Oh, well. If WWE decides to take a break, this is from Chosen Boy. If they take a break or an off-season soon, I wonder if that freezes current all contracts. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of an interesting topic in the sports world, period, regardless of, that's something that baseball and hockey are, that's a topic of conversation just about on a daily basis, whether you check out ESPN or if you listen to your local sports radio. They talk about that a lot. Brandon says it was a great day for the average Joe with this match. 100% agree. The next match, Edge and Orton, last man standing. This was a how can I put this?
A classic.
It was a classic match. I don't want to put the word fantastic with it because I think this went a little too long. And if this is correct, that said this match went over 35 minutes. And I found myself at times just thinking they really could have ended this match 5 minutes ago. They could have ended this match 10 minutes ago. I get that they wanted to have a, kind of like you said, they wanted to make it into a classic match or a classic brawl, essentially, which is what it was. And we definitely got what we were looking for and then some. My only criticism of this match, I think it just went too long. Besides that, I thought it was good. I'm just reviewing the card. This was, I'd say this was a match of the night for me. Charlotte and Rhea is a close second, but
this was definitely a match of the night for me. And I'm actually gonna be on the other side of that. I'm gonna say I felt like the match went the perfect length, And I know a few people have said that. It went a little long. The reason why I said that is if you are a Edge fan or know Edge's story, this whole match freaked you out.
Agreed.
The entire time you were like, dang, was that the one that put Edge out? Dang, is that the one that's going to make Edge not be able to wrestle after this? Oh, my goodness. Should he even be trying to do that right now? I have a couple friends who were texting me during it, and I was like, I can't watch this anymore. I literally can't watch because I just don't know if that's the last time I'm going to see him. Is that the move? Edge was selling everything, too. He made it look so the dude was barely standing most of the match. It was just a great...
They both did a great job of selling, for sure. Edge especially, though.
It took me back to Edge in his prime. It really did. It was a classic match. There was a few spots where I was like, that was cool and different, but it just took you back to a classic time of just brawling and just having a classic match. Those two guys put on, and we've talked about this before, Randy Orton does well with other great wrestlers. And this was a match where Randy looked good. Edge looked great. The crying at the end, him not really wanting to do what he did.
Yep.
It's just perfect storytelling, great match, and I just was blown away by this. It was a great match.
Yeah, and it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable to watch again. For me, if it was closer to a 25-minute match, I would have classified this as a fantastic match. I would have probably given this a 5-star match. And like you said, and others that think it went the perfect length, I totally get that. I think if they kept this match the same length, but maybe put this on night 1, I might have thought differently. I don't really know. I can't say that for sure. I don't know. But again, even that aside, match of the night for me. And
Williams says last man sleeping match for me to stay awake.
I don't know about that. I mean,
Brandon Randall going. I was very happy with the match. Towards the end, it got a Triple H versus Batista vibe, just wanting it to be over.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but even still, with my constructive criticism on the time length, I still thought it was match of the night. And then we have Street Profits against Angel Garza and Austin Theory. It was a match that went a little over 6 minutes. Not a surprise with the result. Like we mentioned earlier, this could have propelled Bianca Belair to the Raw roster. This could have been her. Again, don't like to use the word call up, but that's just what we're going to term it as, because
it could have just been the fact that she was on site too, and it was just a way to incorporate more people into the show. I don't know.
It could be, but I
hope it's a debut.
I do too. I mean, it's just I don't think she can do anything else on the NXT
unless you're going to win the belt, and it doesn't really make sense for her to do so at this time.
Yeah. Street Profits retain the titles. Not really a surprise there. The next match, the Fatal 5-Way for the SmackDown Women's title. Bayley against Lacey, Naomi, Sasha, and Tamina. And I told Cole this. I was surprised that Bayley retained. I thought it was either going to be Lacey or Sasha that won. And this was kind of like another one of my bravery picks. I picked Lacey to win. Cole actually picked Sasha, so we were both wrong on this. And Bayley gets the win. The match went just under 20 minutes. I can't really give an honest opinion because I fast-forwarded through a decent amount of this match. Not all of it. I probably watched about 2/3 of it. What I saw, though, I was just kind of like, again, a lot of these other matches that served its purpose. And I was surprised at the result. And
I liked parts of it. One, I liked the whole bad reunion, the team bad reunion. The whole kind of tease that they were going to kind of reunite to take over the match, whatever. I liked the Sasha and Bayley tease though, and I honestly, I told you this last night. I think this is the long game. I think you're going to see that relationship really start to break up.
Yeah.
As Sasha wants the belt. The only thing I can't put my finger on is this a Sasha face turn?
I don't see. That's what I was thinking too. I mean, it's hard to figure out which they're gonna do.
I just don't see you turning Bailey back to face for this. She's doing well as a heel, in my opinion. She's a little stale at times, but I think that's what makes her gimmick so believable as a heel.
Bailey is more stale as a face than a heel.
But I don't mind her as a heel.
I don't either.
And someone brought up a good point. They could have Sasha win the Money in the Bank, and I think that would actually be the perfect storyline for Sasha then to cash in on Bailey and take the belt from her and make her go face off of that.
Agreed. I think they need to go with the storyline that if you think about all of the women's titles in WWE now, so you've got Charlotte as NXT Women's Champion, you've got Bailey as SmackDown Women's Champion, you've got currently, at the moment anyway, Becky as Raw Women's Champion. If none of those titles are going to change anytime soon, they could play into a four horsewomen kind of deal where Sasha's the only one that doesn't have a belt right now.
Yeah. Most definitely.
So let's see. And I apologize if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Paola says the match was long, but Edge waited 9 years for this, so a short match would have sucked more. I'm not saying it should have been a short match. If it would have went 10 minutes shorter, in my opinion, it still would have fulfilled its purpose. But I get why people like the length of it. Roy says Lacey should have won this one. Bailey's time is up. Lacey was my pick to win. Paola says Sasha is going to win Money in the Bank and cash it in. Chosen Boy says face turns won't work for Bailey until they have a live audience and kids. I don't think a face turn for Bailey is going to work, period. I think she's more...
That would go for anyone. I don't think Sasha's face turn would work either without a live audience. But she also has an album that's going to be dropping. WWE's going to want to cash in on that kind of thing. So her having a face turn makes sense when you really...
I just think a Bailey face turn is... I don't know. I think she works better as a heel, which is really ironic because it seems like it's kind of getting stale now. But if you go back to whenever she was still a face, that got stale almost right after she came from NXT, in my opinion.
The kids loved it, which is why they kept it for so long, is because it was getting over with the PG crowd.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Let's skip around. We're going to quickly review our Drew McIntyre-Lesnar match. I mean, this went 4.5 minutes. We kind of talked a little bit about it already.
We knew it was going to happen.
I got to be honest. I was kind of on the edge of my seat after the third F5 because I'm like, they are not going to have Lesnar win this match. I like that he kicked out. I like that Drew kicked out of every F5. The first one he kicked out at 1. I thought that was awesome. Kicked out at 2 on the second one. The third one, I got to be honest, WWE had me with this one. I thought for a split second that they were actually going to keep the belt on Lesnar, but then he kicked out. At that point, I'm just like, okay, it's a done deal. Drew's going to win this match. I think it served its purpose. Again, it's Lesnar. He's not going to have a long match. Drew has his comeuppance, so to speak. I like the video package that they did before the match that kind of reviewed Drew's history prior to him leaving WWE.
They also dropped his whole documentary like the night before. So,
and like I said, Drew wins the match, a little over 4.5 minutes. And
the only thing that kind of shocked me is that there was no real reaction from Paul Heyman. He just kind of,
yeah.
And here's the thing: now we can't sell Brock to be like this monster of a guy anymore. Like you've had Seth Rollins beat him, you've had Roman beat him, you've had now Drew McIntyre beat him. He's beatable. So I'm kind of over the whole let him come back and just dominate whoever and get the belt, storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Do something different with him. When you bring him back, when, if, how, do something different with him.
Bring him. I think I think Lesnar should, and I know this isn't going to be the case because WWE is very big on him and he's like a big money maker, but I think Lesnar at this point in his career should just be only Saudi attraction shows because at this point, like you said, it doesn't make sense to build him into this unstoppable persona anymore because, again, he's lost to McIntyre. He's lost to Rollins.
David fought Goliath once. You know what I mean? Like the David and Goliath story with Brock specifically is getting old.
Agreed.
Not getting old. It's old. I don't want to say it's getting old. It's been old. Seth Rollins has beaten him twice. Let's just call it what it is. Be done with it. Glad Drew won it. The rumor that I told you that I heard is that Jinder Mahal is his first.
Gosh, I hope not.
I'm telling, and WWE's big on him, so don't be shocked if he comes out tonight and it kind of plays on the whole we're friends. I just wanted to kind of ride your coattails and then try to turn on him. And it would serve its purpose. It would get Drew over with a win.
Well,
But yeah, I read that, and I'm glad he won. But the match is what it is. It was a short Brock Lesnar typical match.
yeah, real quick. Sean says I really like Bailey, and I get why people do. I mean, I just think her character, at least as a face, has gotten stale. Chosen Boy says,
Yeah, definitely.
Heath Slater, a special guest referee.
Wouldn't shock me.
He also says, first time in history I felt sad about seeing someone win the championship. Felt bad for him not having the celebration and applause he dreamed of. Yeah, that's why. That's my one criticism is, I mean, in WWE you can't control this, but Drew deserved to have that WrestleMania moment. He deserved to have the crowd. He deserved to have that pop. If you guys know anything about the path that he's been on to be in WWE, then to leave and kind of hone his craft and just get better in the ring and on the mic while he was on the Indies. I think he worked Impact for a while.
Yeah, he did.
And then he comes back and just yeah, that part got me too. I was just I would have liked for him to have that crowd reaction because he totally deserved it if you know the path that he's been on. Brandon says I'd be fine if they made Lesnar actually go full time and earn a spot, but we know that's not going to happen. I mean, 100% agree. If he was full time, then I would have no problem with whatever WWE wanted to do with him.
Right.
He's not going to be full time though. William says Bailey can't give hugs if she turns. Wait. Bailey can't give hugs if she turns face.
Corona. That's what he's talking about. He's saying that this time she was to turn face right now, she wouldn't be able to give hugs because of the.
Well, no, not right now, but I mean, once we get back to normal, I mean, I guess WWE would still probably discourage her from doing that.
He
but
was making a joke.
I get it, but I'm trying to bring some reality to it, just because, I don't know. I think she just works as a heel better. All right. As quickly as possible, we want to talk about the Fiend and the Cena Firefly Funhouse match. There were aspects of this that I did like. I liked the NWO Cena part. I liked the old school video packages that they did with pulling in Saturday Night's Main Event, the montages with that. But overall, it wasn't a match, and I get the cinematic aspect of it. But I think this is probably going to be the most polarizing WrestleMania match segment, whatever word you want to put with it, vignette, because that's what it felt like to me. It felt like just a long, stretched out vignette video package with a minute of ring time, and I don't know. I'm one of those, and I'm probably in the minority on this, just based on what I've seen on social media that said people loved it. I don't know. I want to say, I'm just not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to say I thought it was garbage.
Oh, are you ready for me?
Yeah.
All right.
Cole's going to disagree, though, so
100% disagree.
the floor is yours.
As soon as I heard Firefly Funhouse match, I was like, this is exactly what a Firefly Funhouse match should have been. As soon as I heard that. All right, now listen. Any other WrestleMania, I would have been like, yes, I want to see a real match, okay? So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it had WrestleMania gone on as planned with a crowd, I would have wanted to see this. No. I would have wanted to saw a real match. With the WrestleMania that we got, this was absolutely perfect for it. One, it showcased John Cena in a way that didn't make him look like he took a terrible L. This put over both of them. This was something that didn't make either one of them, in my opinion, look bad or weak. It showcased John Cena's ability to act. It showcased Bray Wyatt's creativity. Not to mention, I liked how John Cena came out to the ring or when he came out, he was kind of, you could just see he was like, there's no one here to talk to, whatever. And then they do this whole like go into the fun house, and he's like, you're going to fight yourself. And I loved how they turned that. I loved how they relived John Cena's kind of career in itself, and had him like face Bray as Kurt Angle in a sense, and then did the whole old school montages, the whole NWO Cena thing, the whole thing. To me, it wasn't supposed to be a real match, and so the people who think that it was garbage because it didn't really have like a match feel to it. It's a Firefly Funhouse match. It's not supposed to be a real match. It was supposed to be exactly what it was. I feel like it, again, my big takeaway from it was it doesn't hurt Bray. It made Bray look really good. It doesn't hurt Cena. And it really sets up for the opportunity and the ability for them to have a real match when the time comes. And so I thought this was a great cinematic shot. I thought the creativity, there's going to be so many things, funny things that came out of that video package that I just loved. I loved the word life gimmick, him being forced to talk and rhyme. Like, there was just so much creativity that was put into it. I think it had enough creativity of Cena and Bray in it. It was another one of those things where when I watched it, I was like, I'm going to read this one comment. I was so confused by it all. That was the point of it. The point of it was that they wanted you to be so confused by the Fiend. They wanted that match to make you so like the Fiend is just a nutbag kind of persona.
I don't think I've ever heard that word before.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it left me like, what did I just watch?
Well, that's what Titus O'Neil said too after they broke away from it.
And that's going to be the perfect build to get Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, back on track with his run. This match, or whatever you want to call it, was the perfect thing to be like, okay, this guy is freaking crazy.
Yeah, and that's one of those things I think.
I got the match wrong, all right? I took the L. John Cena didn't win, all right? I'm okay. But I'm all right with it because it was so creative and it was so just out there and it was different. And it made WrestleMania Night 2 more interesting because it was so off the wall different.
And I know what I'm going to do at some point, hopefully within the next couple days, so maybe I can give a revised review of them. I'm going to go back and watch both the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match. Again, hopefully by Thursday, because maybe I need to see it more than once. I'm going to give both the benefit of the doubt, especially since social media has been lighting up with both of them. Both seem to have gotten over very well with fans. Not with me so much. I mean, again, like I said, the Boneyard match I thought was okay. And again, my okay is better than average, so I'd probably give it on an ABCDF scale, I'd probably give it a B, in my opinion. And this one, as it stands right now, I don't even know what to grade it, but I'm going to rewatch both. I'll try to give the benefit of the doubt to both. Maybe I'll like them better after a second viewing. Maybe I'll hate them worse. I don't really know.
Anybody who was frustrated with the Firefly Funhouse match to watch it back now, knowing that it's not meant to be like a match, though.
Right.
Okay. So understand the purpose behind it. I do like what Brandon Randall says here. It definitely told the story, and it's hopefully setting up for a Cena heel turn or heel run. I completely agree. I thought it was just great. I liked it.
All right. That concludes our review of WrestleMania. And we're going to close the show. If you are still on the stream, we're going to do our t-shirt giveaway now. Again, you don't have to be watching us right now to win. However, you do have to be one of our first 1,500 likes on our Facebook page to win. I've got my randomizer drawing up and going here. And we're going to do 5 of these drawings. We're going to do 10 clicks each. And, yeah, like I said, if you're one of our first 1,500 likes, you're entered to win. I will get in touch with the winners through private messaging. I will need your color choice. I will need your size. Just one second here. Yeah, I will need your color, I will need your size, and your shipping address. I thought I had a clip here that showed the shirts that we have. Just one second. Here it is. All right, so if you guys can see this, it should pop up anytime now if you don't already see it. This is just for t-shirts. So you can either choose between black, green, and white t-shirts. We do also have a darker green that is not on here. These are not going to be for the hoodies. Hoodies are off limits. This is just for t-shirts. So you can choose between black, white, the green that you see there, or we have a darker green as well. So we're going to do that drawing now. And we're going to do 5 of these. So let's see. Read some comments real quick, and then we'll do the drawing. Bonnie says the Boneyard match was epic. I was on the edge of my seat. Let's see. Roy says, great show. Appreciate it. Sean, thank you. William, thank you. Guys, don't be leaving us. Stick around. You might win something.
Oh, no one's left.
All right.
They're all just saying good luck.
All right. Here we go. We're going to do these. We're going to do 5 of these. I need to be on camera here. We're going to do 5 of these. We're going to do 10 clicks each. And then, yeah, we'll just do this real quick. So, all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. 10th click. Here we go. 10. Vincent Goddard Lapointe is our first winner. Vincent, I will get in touch with you if you're not watching live right now. I will get in touch with you later. Vincent Goddard Lapointe is our first winner. All right, we're going to do 4 more of these. Again, if you are within the United States, shipping is free. If you live outside of the United States, we'll have to work out something as far as you covering the shipping cost if you want it. And got to get back to my screen here. Sorry, guys. I got to clear this. All right, clear. Okay, cool. All right, let's do this again. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th click. Here we go. Hey, Thomas Henderson. Hey, if you're still watching us, you just won a shirt, buddy. Thomas, I know you were watching earlier. If you're still on the show, you just won a shirt. I'll get in touch with you later, or you can comment on the post if you're still watching. Well, I'll just preempt you because you probably don't want to put your address out live on the stream. So I'll get in touch with you if you're still watching. So we got Vincent Goddard Lapointe, if I'm pronouncing that right, and Thomas Henderson are our first 2 winners. Clear this. All right, let's do another one. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Paola Rodriguez. I think she was watching earlier too, wasn't she? Didn't she comment on it on one of our?
I think so.
I think she commented earlier. So, and she was one of them because I thought I was mispronouncing her name. Paola. Again, I apologize if I'm butchering your name, but Paola Rodriguez, you are one of our T-shirt winners. I'll get in touch with you as well. All right, we're gonna do this 2 more times, guys. Let's see. Get back to this. Clear it. Okay. All right. 10 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Wayne Bullard is our 4th winner. Wayne, I will get in touch with you as well if you're watching. Wayne Bullard is our 4th winner. And then we've got, Paola is still watching. So I will get in touch with you and get your T-shirt preference as far as color, what your size is, and what your Paola. Okay. My apologies. I'm bad with names. I'm terrible with names. I will get in touch with you to get your shirt size, your shirt color preference, and your address as well. Again, with all of our winners, you have to live within the United States to get free shipping. If you live outside the United States, either we'll have to work something out as far as shipping costs, or we might have to do this drawing again. All right, last one. We've got. Oh, I gotta clear this. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last click. Here we go. And 10. Mark Cyrus. We've had a lot of people win that have been watching today. Mark Cyrus is our 5th and final winner. I will get in touch with all of you guys to get your t-shirt size, your t-shirt color preference, and your shipping address. All of the winners have 24 hours from the time I contact them through private messaging to give me that information. If I have not heard from them, then they will basically forfeit their win, and we could be doing this drawing again sometime tomorrow, depending on. Actually, I won't be back here till Thursday. I apologize, guys. So if we don't have any winners redeem, so to speak, we'll do another drawing on Thursday, whenever we're back here. Guys, I appreciate it. Thanks again for tuning in with us. Thanks again for the support. Keep in mind our belt giveaway. We're super close, guys. I mean, like I said, we got 750 new likes on our Facebook page just within the last 2 days. So we're right at about 1,800. We only need 200 more on Facebook to do our next belt giveaway. Again, I mentioned that we're going to give away the big gold belt that I put on our last show. So go check that out. And I'll, as far as the belt giveaway, I'll keep you guys updated as far as where we're at on that, in terms of when we're going to do it and how many likes we have. So, again, thanks again, guys. We really appreciate it. For Cole, for myself, Alex, we will see you guys on Thursday.
And so, goodbye. And good night. Bang!
This podcast was a presentation of LightUpMedia.fm.